Saga, 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 saga.
Umurokan buka kaima.
Saga, 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 saga.
Hangen dikerese.
Saga, 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 saga.
Shake it, shake, shake it. Shake it, shake, shake it. There's only one thing. Haven't lost my mind. Shake it, shake, shake it. Shake it, shake, shake it. Shake it, shake, shake it, shake it. We do 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 do. Shake it, shake, shake it, shake it. We do 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 do.
Saga, 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 saga.
We get it doesn't come and no made it.
Saga, saga, saga. Saga, 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 saga.
Shake it, shake, shake it. Shake it, shake, shake it. There's only one thing. Haven't lost my mind. Shake it, shake, shake it. Shake it, shake, shake it. Shake it, shake, shake it, shake it. Is it getting to the weekend? Shake it, shake, shake it, shake it. The whole castle belongs to us.
Saga, 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 saga.
Come on, party.
Saga, 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 saga.
Umurok dan buka kaima.
Saga, 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 saga.
Hangen dikerese.
Saga, 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 saga.
Shake it, shake, shake it, shake it. Is it getting to the weekend? Shake it, shake, shake it, shake it.
I love this song, man. Adorable, featuring Jaliza with Shege. Good morning, welcome to the Morning Mix on Informanté Radio, 17 minutes past 8 op 'n maandagoggend. Vandaag is ook die 16e. Yes, the 16th of March, 2020. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, lady.
Morning.
How are we this morning?
Still alive.
I see.
We're still alive.
Neville, wat gaan met jou aan toch?
No, he's right. We
Oh.
need to keep a distance.
Social distancing.
Yes.
I can sneeze that far, my guy.
Morning, guys.
So, hoe kom is your mic? Is your mic out daar?
Nee, is aan.
Nee. Oh, that's
on.
me. Julle moet my altyd
So it's you again.
Julle, hoe kom kyk hoe lyk my mic daar? Hulle lyk so.
Yeah.
Like you are sneezing in your elbow.
Yeah.
Maar in elk geval, Mora, hoe was die naweek?
It was, guys. I've never experienced a weekend like this.
Yeah.
I tell you.
I think it's a first for all of us.
Friday night.
Face. Don't touch your face.
That is impossible for me. I'm very honest with
Me
you.
as well, but
Then wash your hands. Did you go wash your hands?
No, I wash my hands.
No.
I've not washed my hands as many times as I've washed my hands in my lifetime.
Just try to avoid it. Like it's about practicing. That's what I say.
Come on, man.
Oh, and even worse,
Come
you're
on.
touching your mouth.
Sorry, ne? Aye.
It's gonna affect you first, no? It's gonna infect you first. When JJ Kenny.
So
Friday night I was home. Saturday I had two events before this thing broke. I had an event on Saturday afternoon, 2:00. We had to rush through this event. And Saturday evening we had the Trustco-sponsored karate event at Safari Hotel, where luckily we could not touch. These guys were fighting, grabbing each other and beating the crap out of each other. But after that event, I think around 7 o'clock, I went straight home. Yesterday, I was just home, depressed about this whole situation. So, and washing my hands constantly.
Yeah, the washing of the hands, I think, in the house is not so much of a problem because you don't have those viruses on your counters and stuff. It's more for when you're in public spaces.
If you're moving around here.
Yeah, I was at the Me Too movement meet
Saturday,
and greet
yeah.
when we received the news that there are 2 confirmed cases and that, eventually then the president's ban on large gatherings, although he didn't specify the number, and then other measures that he took, such as cancelling the Independence Day celebrations, we now know. I was at the meeting, so there was, I had an opportunity to be on the mic and possibly inform those in the room, and I opted not to because we didn't want to create this panic. So we were able to kind of go through the event with majority of the people in the room not picking up that there are 2 confirmed cases. Because as it turns out, that afternoon I went to the mall because I just needed to pick up a few things like shampoo and stuff like that. The mall was crazy. It was crazy.
Which mall?
At the Grove Mall.
Okay.
Discount, for example, was just crazy busy, and every second, like the guy that was in the sanitizer aisle, I felt sorry for because every second person was
looking.
where's the sanitizer? Where can I find it? And they kept saying, we've ran out. We've been out for 2 weeks now. There's no hand sanitizer. What about tissues? What about wet wipes? Which are the wet? Where is the alcohol base? Where is the Dettol? Where is the disinfectant? Like this is all people. Where are the masks? Where are the gloves? This was, I think, predominantly the things that people were looking for. And I mean, in the event that they couldn't find that, they opted for stuff like Protex and those type of soaps. But it was not just Discam. You went into Checkers, same story. You went into Super Spa, same story. You even went into Woolies, same stories. I think in Clicks and people, I even saw people buying the hand sanitizer, they're not even the alcohol one, just because they're like, Excel alcohol and gaan gooi. Excel.
Alcohol.
So, and then I thought that was bad until I went to Metro on Sunday because I needed to pick up a few groceries. Even worse, because I don't think people realize that in their panic they're actually exposing themselves more at risk because the best thing to do when you're in panic mode is to stay at home.
The best thing is to not panic.
Yeah, I'm saying you can't help but panic. Panic, you can't help.
Yes, you can.
No.
Yes, you can.
You can, but I mean, if you're getting news, some people just hyperventilate. For ask the person, don't hyperventilate. You're going to. If that's your reaction to that news, if your reaction naturally is to go into panic mode, there are people that are very calm, they're fine. There are people that can breathe themselves to calmness. And then there are just people that just panic, like every news that comes in, they're on, and I mean, this is not, yesterday then schools were closed, pre-primary schools were closed, universities have gone in, they've put in as well measures. So this is enough information to cause panic, but you're correct, don't panic.
The reason why I'm saying don't panic is because we have known since basically the beginning of the year, and we have been saying over and over again, it's only a matter, it's a matter of when, not a matter of if. Yeah, so I mean, most people sort of got prepared and were waiting for the news that, okay, the virus is finally here. Other people were like, the virus sal nie kom nie. And then, when it hits, I guess the panic erupts.
Two types of people, by the way. People that prepare early and people that react. And unfortunate majority react to situations.
Reacting. The most difficult, I guess the most crucial thing in situations like this, we need to pay attention to the people who don't pay attention. Because there are people who do not pay attention. They don't read the news. They don't listen to radio. They are not on these news sharing platforms. There are people who actually have no idea how the virus even spreads or how to protect themselves, living in our communities. And those people, not only are they at risk themselves, but also, of course, they have the highest probability of actually spreading the virus.
I mean, Maria, me, Cubase, and Shines, I think it was on Thursday.
Thursday, yes.
We just went to Karatura to go and do, a few vox pops. We went to Namalokasi, there in the heart of Karatura. We went to Chinatown. We went to Kommersdal. And Maria, half of the people know what's going on. Half of the people don't understand what is corona. And it seems like there's a continued education campaign that needs to be launched by government.
Exactly.
To go in the deepest of trenches of Namibian society to get people to understand the danger of this thing. And it's, yeah.
And these are people who are some of the people we're talking to were like vendors.
Yeah,
so
vendors.
They are interacting with so many different people, but like in close proximity on almost minute by minute basis. And these people, some of them have no clue how the virus is spread or what effect it has on the body. And it's a sad story, and it's actually a very volatile situation.
I went to the gym this morning at 5.
What did you go do at the gym?
I went to the gym and I was the first person at the gym. Now, obviously, going into the gym, the hand sanitizers, yeah. So every piece of equipment that I use, I
First, disinfect.
the whole time. You don't concentrate on what you're doing anymore because you're so hyperventilating on hygiene at the
Super
moment.
conscious.
Yeah.
That's why I said I'm probably going to cancel my gym membership and do my workout at home because unfortunately the gym is one of the most There's a breeding ground.
True.
Because you sweat, you touch your face.
Yes.
You touch equipment, the next person touches the equipment, touches their face.
Yes.
You can't avoid. I mean, just by virtue of the gym, it is touching equipment. It is touching stuff. It is touching surfaces. And but I just wanted to say something I think is very important. I think this coronavirus, more than anything, right now, when I think about it, it's really going to test our humanity. We're lucky that there's no reports of it being in informal settlement right now, but it's happening. It's going to come. That's inevitable. The spread is going to be, it's going to fly throughout the country, and it's going to touch mostly the community. You know, this is not a virus that is friendly on the poor or the poor communities, and this is going to really be a test of our humanity. For example, we know that schools are closed right now and will be for some of those women are also mothers that have to go into town and care for other people's children, okay, while they don't have anybody to care for their own children. As if you have employed a nanny or for your children that comes in, are you allowing her to bring her children now, in light of the fact that schools have closed? Or do you expect that nanny to make other arrangements, if it's to drop the kids off by the neighbor or try and find somebody to come stay? So you need to really, at this point, I think, if you are an employer, treat your employees the way you would want, for example, your company here to treat you. I mean, Trustco, for example, has put great measures in place, and it's very commendable that, you know, there's a directive that if you care for children or the elderly, you can work in isolation, work from home. That's great. Other companies, I think it's a responsible thing to do. I think other companies should follow suit. It's the most responsible thing that companies should be doing for their employees right now. I know there are people that aren't doing it. I was speaking to personal friends yesterday that said they'd asked their employers, I don't have anybody to watch my child. I only have a nanny that comes in twice a week to clean up, but I don't have a nanny every day.
Yes.
And now
if my kids are at home, I have no idea.
My kids at home, I have nobody.
Yeah.
My parents are in the north. I have nobody.
I have to run back home after the show.
Can I work in isolation? They were told no. Can I bring my children to work? They were told no. So they're running around, scrambling, trying to find if there are friends that are willing to take their kids or whatever. But I mean, yesterday was catastrophe. And we need to really, at this point, put safety before profits. Yes, we're all going to lose money. There's going to be a huge economical impact. Huge economical impact. I mean, this is already in a already struggling economy that we're living in.
You know, when you mention profits, it reminds me of something that I was seeing. I see a lot of people are. I mean, obviously, there are some companies that are sort of taking advantage of the situation because there's a shortage of so many things like the face masks and the sanitizers that everybody's looking for. So some people are hiking those prices so much.
Yes.
Like if you see something like that, maybe you should inform the Competition Commission or I don't know who it is that is supposed to regulate these things, but it's just unethical.
It is unethical, and this capitalist system will be the death of us. I'm so sorry, but how are you trying to make profits off of a crisis?
Yes,
a deadly crisis, by the way. People are genuinely dying. All right, like flies almost. I don't want to be like an alarmist, but people are dying at in large numbers, and you want to try and make money in this moment. I'm sorry, I'm going to put, for example, Pathcare on blast. I see an advert about if you want to get tested, 1,100. All you need is like a doctor's letter if you suspect you have the symptoms, but you know because I know NIP is doing it for free, but like, I mean, you don't just get the help. It's not just about calling in. I suspect, and you come in, they ask you questions, and most times it's, were you at an affected region? Did you travel recently, whatever? And if they feel like you're not a priority case, they'll tell you, no, relax. And they'll really work with priority cases. So you're not, and I did try to call that number, by the way, that toll-free number to just check. No, even when I told them no, but I might have come into contact with people that were in those regions, it was like, what are your symptoms right now? What are you understand? So it's not as, they don't have the capacity. So you would
to
think
test everybody.
Yes. So you'd think like now if you find a private sector like Pathcare that says, okay, fine, if you suspect, come, but then you're charging 1,100? 1,100 for a test? Come on. I mean, I understand that you possibly have to send those to South Africa, but do we have to be so about profit-driven at a time like this? I have a serious problem with that.
It's a capitalist world that we are living in.
Capitalist system. It's crazy. We should be right now. Let's try for a social system, okay, which puts humanity before profits.
Democratic socialism. Sound like Bernie Sanders.
Neville is just shaking his
head. Then you have politicians who use this opportunity to for their own gain. There's a Zimbabwean politician yesterday at a Zimbabwean rally who says, he says, this is payback for America and Europe who impose sanctions on
China.
No, on Zimbabwe. Yes. So this is payback for what they have done to Zimbabwe. That is why the coronavirus is hitting Europe and America so bad. This is his take on it.
No, it's not a he. It's a woman.
Okay.
By the way, but this is the same minister. This is the same minister that said if your husband cheats on you, pour hot water on them. So we don't expect her to be logical, Yeah.
But don't you agree with that one?
I think so. And I'm just joking.
but I mean, we had utterances from ministers here at home which also raised a couple of eyebrows.
We defeated AIDS.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is corona?
We will celebrate our birthday. We were fighting against AIDS. What is corona?
Anyway, it's irresponsible. I mean, even
why hasn't he been made to apologize?
Hello.
By who?
By his president.
His president is afraid to come near him in case he has coronavirus. I think even the Minister of Health was saying closing the border is not gonna it's not gonna stop the coronavirus.
This is actually I hate that they said it's not gonna stop, but it's a mitigating factor.
Yes, of course.
Let me tell you, my country. When I say my country, I'm talking about my birth country, Angola. Already on the 1st of March, there was a travel ban. Because they knew they had direct flights coming in from Portugal, which was an affected region. Up until recently, when this announcement was made over the weekend, which is 2 weeks into March, we had a direct flight to Germany, also an affected region, but nobody was saying ban that flight.
Yeah.
We had to wait for confirmed cases to ban. No, J-Lo went on national radio saying from the 1st of March, we don't really have the capacity to deal with this virus. So,
we'd rather close down.
You're not coming into the country. from the first already 2 weeks ago. And I'm saying this is the type of, we can't be reactionary. We have to be proactive, and that's why I'm saying there's two types of people. People that in crisis put measures in place, and the people that see a crisis coming and prepare for it.
Yeah.
We seem to be the country that is, yes, I'm glad for the measures, please don't get me wrong. We're just saying that they came, it's a bit late. This is stuff that should have happened weeks ago, especially when we had the health minister in the studio saying, it is coming. We know it's coming. It's just a matter of time. So if you know this is a ticking time bomb, why do you have to wait for the bomb to go off before putting measures in place?
I think we have really been
complacent.
We've been complacent. That's the word I'm looking for. Because I was watching the interview of the Minister of Health on the 8 o'clock news Saturday on NBC. So the presenter asked him, so you know the frontline people at the airport, are they wearing protective gear? And his answer was, people are being screened before they get to these people. Basically, that was, the gist of his answer. And I'm thinking to myself, but these two guys, or this couple, was also screened.
Incubation period.
Yes, and they came into contact with these people. So if you're thinking, no, these guys, people are already screened, the people who come here are healthy, so to speak, and then you get a situation like that, it makes you wonder then how many other people sort of slipped through the cracks.
They had a cruise ship with over 1,600 coming into the country for a few days with tourists. 1,600, and they said, we screened them. Screen them, by the way, for those that are not sure. Screening is a twofold process. Number one, you fill in a document that says, do you have these symptoms?
No.
And you tick yes, no, what, and then in which countries did you recently travel to? That's a document. Now, if you're in incubation period, you don't have a dry cough. You don't have difficulty breathing. So that's going to tick off as no. So already they're looking at that form, and they say,
you are fine.
You're fine. And let's say you only had traveled to, let's say, Zim, where there is no cases. But in Zim, you came in contact with somebody that traveled in from Spain, for example, right? Or from Italy.
Exactly.
Because they're not looking at that. They just look at you physically, where have you traveled, not who you came into contact with, right? So then they look at your form, she's fine. No, she hasn't really gone to any affected regions, whatever. You're fine. The second part of the screening is the temperature check. So you check now, the person's temperature is below 38. Oh, no, she's good. Continue procedure in the country. Procedure. And I get into this bus. I go to a guest house at Sokomundo, at Walfish Bay, because we're on the cruise ship and we're going to be there for a day or whatever. Yeah. And I come in contact with all these people, from the driver of the shuttle to the receptionist of the guest hotel, to the cleaners that clean my room, who are actually the one I'm most worried about, because those ones generally live in informal settlements. Yes. And so forth. They are saying they're busy tracing who this Spanish couple. I can promise you they're not going to get everybody.
Romanian couple.
Sorry, yeah.
How does that happen, by the way? How do we mistake their...
They said they came from Spain, and I think
but their passports should say Romanian, so how...
It's just how effective. Spain was like, I don't know this man.
Yeah,
you know that video? I don't. But this Romanian couple. You know, even with the tracing period, you're gonna the obvious ones will be eliminated, like the guest hotel, all the staff at the
guest house.
The guest house. Maybe the shuttle driver that brought them in. Maybe the officials that were on duty on that day. Those are easy to eliminate. But what about just the other guy say, hey, madam, taxi? You know what I mean? When you arrived at the airport.
Don't touch me.
That's all right, man.
Hey, man. That's man.
So what about those people?
Yes, exactly.
You know, or the person that helped carry the bag into the car. Yeah. What about that person? You know, and this is what I'm saying. You can't really trace. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But how are we? We were so flippant.
They were even saying, like, you know, they're only checking or trying to track the people who came into close contact, like 1 meter. But then I can come into a room like 5 minutes after you've left and pick up something that you were touching and contaminate myself.
On her way to the toilet.
Yeah.
Touches the aisle seats.
Or just the handle, like going into the bathroom.
Or into the handle of the of that toilet.
Yeah.
And the next person touches it. And in the toilet, physically,
yes,
You know, because that's something the whole place will be, you might be doing all of that.
Yeah.
Hello.
Guys,
Hello.
how long? Let's say, for instance, Maria, you touch the mic now.
Yeah.
Okay? Physically touch the mic.
To stop touching your face.
how
You have a
long-
problem with touching you, but you're touching your face.
How long does this virus last on the mic?
How does it survive on surfaces?
I
They don't know for sure.
They don't know for sure. That's why they say it's just, that's why.
Cle-
Guys, the washing of the hands, let me be clear. The washing of the hands is because you carry the virus on your hands.
Yes.
And the avoiding the face is it's transmitted into
Yeah.
your body via your face, your
Yeah.
eyes and your
Nose
your
and
mouth,
your mouth, yeah.
your nose and mouth, whatever takes in the system. So it's not that it's really like airborne necessarily that you're breathing this
Yeah.
air that's infected. No, it's transferring of the germs or the virus
Yeah, you
to
touch it,
whatever.
you touch your
So
face.
when you're out in public, when you avoid touching surfaces like counters, on an escalator, avoid touching the handles. When, yes, you can press, if you're in an elevator, I guess you got to press the button, but don't touch your face till you get somewhere
until
and
you get to
can-
wash your hands.
Yes,
yeah.
or if you have
sanitize.
or you have a alcohol-based sanitizer, has to be alcohol-based. I saw you guys in the crazy store buying this non-alcoholic sanitizer.
Bottle of whiskey.
Yeah. Alcohol sanitizer, quickly put that and just do a thorough, first thing when you enter your house, after you've been out in public, so especially because in the house, there's now your kids and your family, first thing you do, go to your bathroom and just really wash down. Once you're in the house, it's not so important to do so because I'm assuming if your house is a clean space or if you don't have people coming in and out.
In and out, yeah.
But I'm saying every time you go out, try to make it safe to just wash your hands. Teach your kids the routine. At home right now, I have my kids washing their hands every 2 hours, and not because there's a problem at home. I just want them to have the habit.
Who's looking after your kids now?
I've got somebody that's helping me out. So I want to create those habits. Create those habits of just hygiene. And for us, we're in a position to say that because we're privileged enough, but that's why you're very correct that this messaging has to go to the people in the
Yes.
lower part of society, as we like to call it, and give that education.
There are
on
those who
how to
truly are
practice
not
good
paying
hygiene.
attention to the news. They're not paying attention to anything. They're not reading the newspapers. They're not
So,
watching.
and it's not out of choice.
Yes.
They don't have access to television.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily listen to radio. So these are the communities that need to be informed. I don't like this situation.
No. Shines, what kind of
While we set up, Chris, I just wanted to see, for example, it was shared here, and I think it's quite important information, interesting information. Some of the precautions that South Africa has put in place, for example, they've declared this a national state of disaster. And then, which means that there will be like effective and rapid response systems in place. Limited contact with infected person, travel ban on foreigners with high-risk countries from the 18th of March, visas cancelled. Travel alerts will be issued based on risk level. Citizens returning from high-risk areas to self-quarantine. Medium-risk countries travel to be subjected to testing. 72 ports of entry, 35 of those have been shut down. 2 seaports will be closed. Domestic travel discouraged. Gatherings of more than 100 people. That includes churches. I know we are church-loving people. Gatherings of more than 100 prohibited now. This is South Africa. Small gathering organizations must have a plan, meaning like make sanitizer available and so forth.
Yeah.
Schools to be closed from Wednesday all the way to Easter holiday. Tertiary institutions to be consulted. All businesses to ensure they intensify measures, the hygiene measure controls. Shopping malls to ensure the same hygiene measures put in place. Increase capacity of hospitals, monitoring system, mass campaign education, the education mass campaign we're talking about. Minimize physical contact, funding available to reinforce the systems. And then National Command Council to meet 3 times a week. I don't know how that works because they're going to be now coming into contact with each other. I hope it's not more than 100 people. But these are some of the measures that are in place. And I think at some point we might actually duplicate some
of these things. Môre, Chris.
Goeiemôre julle.
Welkom. Ons het jou gemis.
Ja, nee, ek kom groet maar net. Ek is nie.
Ek hoop jy het coronavirus saamgebring het.
Ja, dit is dangerous.
And just for those
Yes.
listening, you might hear that Chris has a cough, but it's a wet one, so
It's not a dry one.
one. So it's all right.
Chesterfield. It's actually remnants of the old Lexington and gold dollar cough that doesn't go away.
That was nog Lexington.
Do they still make Chesterfield?
Yes. Do they still make Gunston?
No,
Yeah,
Gunston.
Gunston's a great cigarette. Was a great cigarette.
I don't think they do that anymore.
Neville, you don't look well, man.
Yeah, no, I'm seriously. I think it was quite a rude awakening for me to wake up on Saturday morning and to deal with this. I think I'm still in a bit of shock.
Well, I can imagine, a comedian to suddenly become serious. It's a shock to the system.
Let me explain to you, Kribo. Since
You
this
cannot
morning,
make jokes about it. You can do nothing.
this morning, guys, 3 of my major events for this month, remaining events, has just been cancelled an hour ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's klar.
It's gonna, and I said it. There's gonna be a huge economical impact. People are losing money. The first one, I think the biggest one, will be the hospitality industry
Yeah.
here in Namibia.
Yeah.
That's in hospitality, by the way, it includes. I would include the shuttles. These guys that do the
Exactly.
shuttle drives to and
The
from
logistics.
the airport, especially with no international flights coming in now into Namibia. This will be the most affected. Hosea Kutago is probably like a white elephant right
Ghost
now.
town.
Yes, ghost town, and those will be the most affected. And I mean, if you think about it, those industries employ a lot of people, like cleaners, receptionists, chefs, cooks, waitresses. All these people are currently, I don't want to say out of jobs, but definitely are not working to capacity. So that's the first industry. And it's like you said, and then it's other things like graduation ceremonies, like even just the creative industry. You are a photographer, you were supposed to take pictures of graduation graduates. You can't. You that were supposed to MC at that event, sorry, none of that. The catering company, all this,
And I mean, I took it very personal on Saturday when Chris was posting
Hoekom sit jy so ver van jou
very
mic af?
derogatory insult towards my political party, Swanu, saying that if you want to stay virus-free, you need to join Swanu because there are only 3 of us. I mean, you can't say stuff like that.
I told you, let's look
Apparently,
at
we are a board meeting. We're not a political party.
You are a board meeting.
We don't.
Have the Congress in a taxi.
Yeah.
Mobile Congress.
but just a reminder, yes, everybody's gonna. It's gonna be tough.
It's gonna hit all of
It's
us.
gonna be tough for all of us. I think everybody sitting here will feel it. Our employers can feel it.
Yeah.
But I see the government, they've closed this public recreational spaces, but then, the private institutes are still open, like bars and clubs
Sunday
and stuff.
sessions. That was
No,
no,
because-
hot geweest.
but they
Yeah,
have-
like Kapana, for
Yeah,
instance.
But
Imagine.
they didn't explain what the number is. We're still waiting for the exact number. In South Africa, they say large gathering is 100. I was reading a story in Italy, large gathering is 500. What is the benchmark here? It's very difficult to assess if you can even have, for example, church service, if you don't know the benchmark. I saw this slut-shame walk that might have attracted 200 people cancelling. But there was church with 300 or 400 people yesterday.
Yes, indeed.
So it's like, should they be cancelling? Is that a large gathering? What constitutes a large gathering? That government has to give us clarity, because you
They
have
should
to
give
put
us
a
a
number
benchmark.
on
Yeah.
it. You don't leave it to the discretion of people. And I think once that's decided, establishments, like you say, your nightclubs, will know how to function. And by the way, they will be affected. There's just no question that those facilities will be able to continue running or operating. There's no way.
I think what we must be prepared for, it will test our Namibianness in a very big way. Who will assist the vulnerable? Who will go in and talk to people, treat them, or be in close contact with them that don't know what is actually going on? There's an old, long tradition of service, to the poor and the weak and those that are a bit remote. That's number one. Will people be willing to volunteer their time, volunteer their privacy, volunteer their own safety, to go and look after others who might not even be aware? That's the one thing. So I think the character, number one, and the other thing is our culture, the way we operate with each other, will become under severe strain. We are a friendly people. We are very expressive in the way we interact with each other. So
We're
we
tight.
will really, yes,
Tightness.
and we will really have to change our behavior, and that will have a psychological impact on many people, many people. People will say, that guy wants nothing to do with me, which might not be the case. Some people are more careful than the others. Then in our communities we have people who are scared more easily than the others. Then there are people who are not scared at all. Doesn't matter what happens, they just take a whiskey or a kalgat and then it's okay.
Yeah.
So it's
Say it like that,
really
word for
not
word.
that easy. It's not really that easy. It's going to test us as individuals in the first place. Our humanity, how we feel. It's very
Yes.
important.
Yeah, and I did mention it before you came here, Chris, that it is ultimately going to be a test on our humanity. Can you help just one extra person?
Yes.
Like I said, sometimes it's just, we have friends that are in a pickle right now, like say they don't have anywhere to drop their kids because they can't take their kids to work. They don't have nannies. Their families are out of town or live in other areas of the country. If you can just help that friend and say, okay, fine, allow your kid to come to my house. I've got a nanny. To just, for those hours, let me be of some service to you.
That is a large gathering at my house. I don't want.
Maria just
yeah.
made me sit on my hands now for the first time in 35 years.
Because he
I'm
keeps
sitting
touching
on
his
my
face,
hands.
and I'm
Why?
just nervous for you. He keeps touching his face.
Well,
And it's just, you have to, and it's for people like Neville and for people like me and for others, it's also breaking those habits. And this is what Chris is saying. It's like, your habits are to always give a handshake when you say hello to people, or to
Yeah.
hug or to kiss. You need to break those habits. Or to stand right next to that person in the queue where you're breathing down their neck, literally. You need to change those habits. So we really have to become a conscious nation, an intentional nation in everything we do. If you have a habit of touching your face, like I do, learn to cross your fingers so that you avoid that. Practice good hygiene. Like, I mean, there's so much we need to get into.
I was trying to do
Maria,
that
but
in the
you're
morning.
right. When I saw that video clip of the buying in Metro, my reaction was not, wow, people are now buying to get out of trouble. My first reaction is, what are you doing? You are now actually exposing yourself more to this. I nearly... I had a fright for what I saw. My reaction was different than, for instance, my wife's. My wife said, let's go and buy. I said, no, I'm not going close to that.
I'm not getting into that mess now.
Now, you and me, I think the three of us, gentlemen sitting here, I think this weekend must have been horrible for the three of us. All sports-loving men.
Oh, don't talk about that.
Because from here going forward, I will have to start talking to my wife over weekends.
I actually had to spend time
Thank
with my
goodness
kids.
I don't have a wife. I'm the only one in studio without a wife. by the way.
Because I believe they stopped the Super Rugby now.
And they stop everything.
They stopped the
Everything.
English Premier League.
Football is come to us.
Football has stopped.
Basketball is come.
Everything.
Actually,
So you had to
even
say
Formula One got
You had to
cancelled.
say
No, but I'm just saying that was the first one.
That's your point of
That was,
reference.
no, that was the first one that was cancelled. That's why.
Maria's toch aan Roland. Basketball is their thing. Leave her alone.
But with basketball,
There are other reasons.
don't you jump too high for the virus.
Wat
Yeah,
sê die
so-
mensen Cubase? Wat sê die
Jong,
mense?
daar's miskien 150 comments hier.
No, and I'm sure.
How do you cough in a guy's face that are 7'2"?
Apparently, coughing in people's face now become a weapon of mass destruction.
Guys, do you know what really broke my heart? When I saw the churches in Europe, for instance, and I don't want to start a church debate, you know, people run to churches when they are in trouble. We all know that. When pressure is coming, we go to our church.
Yeah.
But you know, when the church say, don't come to me,
Everybody hates.
Hey, don't bring your virus here.
I don't want to see you guys. You must go on the WhatsApp and see. Then I'm worried. Then I'm really worried. You know, many people became saints for assisting the ill. Huh?
So, Neville, what is your plan for Jikenda's no 2-3 weke? But then your kids are homeschooled, so you don't really have to worry about that. No?
Yeah, because they had to. Homeschool doesn't mean that they are home. There's a place that they go to where they are being homeschooled.
Yes.
And there's at least 20 kids there. So they're all at home at the moment. So my wife is already stressing with it. Hierdie kinders gaan my weer stress.
Heel dag.
Yeah, so you need to.
Every mother's concerned.
Yeah, and tell this one, he can't be playing PlayStation or Fortnite the whole day. And tell your daughter, call your daughter to tell her she's not going down to that other house for the whole day.
Is she the good cop?
I don't know. Who now?
Your wife. Because
No.
it's usually bad cop, good cop. Are you
There's-
the bad cop that
No,
you
no,
have
no,
to
no.
do?
She's the bad cop.
Oh. Yeah,
The
mothers
kids
usually
always, Daddy, just talk to mommy. Mommy is stressing us at home.
Daddy doesn't want to have
same
those
story.
conversations.
We are always the bad ones. Because we
Yeah,
have to
the mother is always the disciplinarian.
Yes.
Same story, but I fall in the trap of being such a good cop that I get in trouble with the bad cop.
That's it. All men. All
You're
of us.
supposed to support me.
He's like, why do I always have to be the bad one? Why can't it also be you?
Yeah.
Nee, ek is moeg.
I relied on you, now you tell the children differently.
Some of the comments saying, you're saying, so these are the measures, some of the measures to keep them home?
That's it.
Yeah,
Keep
that's
them
really
home.
all you can.
Guys, have you heard the border closure between Alexander Bay and Oranjemund, closed from the South African side?
Yeah,
Wow.
one of the ones that was announced.
You know, a border post like Mata Mata is not that serious because it's you don't have to use that border. But Oranjemund and Alexander Bay is basically one town. People staying here, working on the
On the
mines.
other side, yeah.
So that's quite a different dynamic. Huh? It's quite disruptive. It is, and that is another problem. I think today already, people don't really realize how disruptive it will become by Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah, next
The
week.
whole it's really disruptive,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and we have to cope with that.
yeah. But don't panic.
No,
Because that weakens your immune system and you need a strong immune system to fight the coronavirus.
I've always said, and I think I told this to Chris last week, I said, you know what? I don't have any chronic diseases currently. I don't have high blood pressure or
Asthma.
diabetes or asthma or whatever. But if there's one thing that will take me from this earth is pneumonia. I've always had a very bad chest
Oh.
since childhood. And with this thing, you know, yeah, it is a concern for me. I can't lie.
Just don't touch your face.
It's
You will
gonna be
maybe
very,
do
very
what
difficult.
I do. I go to Yarman every night.
Funeral service.
just to hear if there's place on the list.
Oh man, okay, let's read a comment or two.
Yeah.
There are too many. We're probably not going to be able to get through all of them. Popieni Shikongo.
Just don't read the good morning ones, please.
No, I'm starting from the bottom, but I'm not screening them. My
Yeah.
eyes do betray me from time to time. So I'm not screening them beforehand. The divorce rate in China hiked due to couples staying together for so long.
Yeah, I read that somewhere as well.
Oh, so being stuck with your wife in the house for 2 weeks, you're like, I can't even.
No, very true.
I get you. Get through it, Mwahi.
I love my wife, but 3 weeks with my wife in a confined space on a cruise ship. Won't work.
For a woman, if you are in a habit of touching your face, just put makeup whenever you go out. So when you have makeup, you won't want to touch your face. I'm assuming.
That doesn't
really
actually
know.
work, by the way.
It won't be easy to stop touching ourselves at our forehead, but we will try. That's from Matthias. Dion Kluter, Zimbabwe League is still on. Neville, keep on watching.
Okay.
So yeah, you can be sports.
I must not really watch Zimbabwe seriously.
Musariri something. Those are the name of the place.
No, sorry. I saw a tweet. Somebody said, "I know the NBA has been cancelled, but if anybody is interested, I know it's just a small consolation, but Ongwediva campus will be playing whatever this afternoon. Come and watch."
Popieni Shikongo saying the people that ran to shop might have made the biggest mistake ever, yes. And Gayton is saying, I didn't realize the amount of times I touch my face on a daily basis up until now. Yeah. Dion Kluter, educate die mense wat sê elke dag, heel dag in hulle neuskrap. Oh, wat so elke dag. Oh. Yeah, we're going to try. Nambo is saying, do we really need a specific number? Do we really need a specific number so we can stay away?
Yeah, we do need a specific number.
I say more than 50 is too much. 50 is too much.
I think 100 is a good number too.
Yeah, 100 is baie.
50 is baie.
Go to the old apartheid rules. You remember when the protest movement...
Yeah. No large gatherings.
10 and more.
That's a whole family.
10 and more, dat is jullie bezig met een complot. Ja, uit mekaar kom. Makwa van Makwa, me, I cancelled my meeting that was supposed to be attended by around 60 people. Okay. Helvis and Bula, are you sitting 1 meter apart there? That's on Yala.
This is
We are as far as we can.
it's about 1 meter apart.
Nande Matundu, I think we will die of stress more than anything else.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, there's a need to stress, and also there's a need not to stress. Dion Kluter say, no, wie is die Lani no weer? Hij is onze baas. Ja.
Chris Jacobi.
Yeah, Bernard Bongora, Navasep. Romania is not a high-risk country, but they screwed us. Ramaphosa was supposed to ban those that transit through high-risk countries. Also, instead, he banned citizens from high-risk countries only. But these people did not come through Ramaphosa's country. They flew from Doha straight to Hosea,
from Madrid
Kutako.
to Doha to...
Yeah. Bradley Kubisep, oh, Kribo, sê tog vir ons iets oor hierdie virus. Why do you guys think white people have all the answers? For Viennese Congo, when winter falls, we are all in the real deal, or in for a real deal. Hopefully, the cure comes before that. Okay, let's hope.
I just wanted to add, always keep in mind in this panic that more people recover from the coronavirus than those that die from it.
Very important.
Yes.
That's a very, very important piece of information, just to kind of help you calm down a little bit. So you can catch, and you will most likely catch the coronavirus at some point. But the important thing, the good news is, you are most likely to survive it.
Yeah.
And how do you, focus on improving your chances of survival. How do you do that? Keeping healthy, eating healthy, practicing a healthy lifestyle. That's one way.
Boosters.
Take your vitamin C's. If you don't have them, because I know they're sold out in all pharmacies and everything, but just eat fruits that have the vitamin C. Oranges. The most famous
lemons.
one is an orange. Eat as many oranges as you can.
The citrus fruits,
Yes. And
Vodka and orange juice.
Yeah.
Yes, ja.
And,
Je kan sommer jou hande was daarmee en dan gooi je hem af.
And there are two fundamental symptoms, and that's dry cough and
Fever.
dry cough And yes, not really a fever, but the temperature will come later on. Dry cough and difficulty breathing. Those are the two main things. So if you have a wet cough, don't stress too much. If you're sneezing, I was freaking out on Saturday because I was having an itch in my eyes, and I was like, oh, those are signs of either a flu or an allergy, not necessarily corona. Corona, the main two is heaviness of breathing and a dry cough. Those are the two symptoms. So don't just go into panic mode. Do that. But also, lastly, before we go, I want to say that, yes, humanity apart, I think this virus is also going to, true leaders will start standing out. And I wanted, and I'm not saying this because I work for Trustco, just by the way. I'm saying this because that was a test of true leadership, and I would like other companies to follow suit. For example, some of the measures that this country, this company has put in place is testing its employees every morning. We get our temperature checked. Before you go to your desk.
Yeah.
If you report over 38, you go home. If you don't have a nanny or you don't have somebody to care for your children or the elderly, you work in isolation, you stay there. Today, management was going around just looking at the sitting arrangement so that we're not sitting too close to each other.
One another, yeah.
And suggesting rotating, meaning half workforce comes in, let's say in the morning and another in the afternoon, or seeing how best to mitigate. But this is because we're not trying to make it difficult for anybody, and we're trying to
minimize
mitigate.
the risk.
Yes, try to put. These are measures being put in place, and I really hope that other companies can look at this and start, especially the ones with a smaller workforce. I think those ones should even implement it more easier than big companies. But hopefully companies are taking this very seriously, that it's not about the profits right now. Like I said, in this point, it should be about health first. So let's try and, yes, it will burn a hole in all of our pockets. There's no question, but that can't be our driving force. We need to put humanity ahead of everything else. So I sincerely hope that your employers will be kind to you, as we've been lucky enough to have had here.
Lucky for me, my pocket is all holes, so there's nothing to burn. Akuna Usiku is asking, what's the difference between a wet and a dry cough? Interesting question.
You know when you whistle and it looks like a kilogram is coming from, that's a wet cough. The dry one is when it feels like there's nothing in your mouth.
In the
Sounds
sear,
like a whistle.
and it's by a sear,
whistle. You say, not even saliva feels like it's coming out.
I also, Maria and you media guys are not taking enough credit, but I'm assured, and I was assured by the media segments of Trustco, that they will only disseminate the official released information on corona as not to contribute to rumor mongering, more panic. So they might not be first with a story, but they will be correct. You will not see Informanté or Informanté Radio or other media, and that's according to the editors and the managers, that they will put a story and later retract it. It was not like that. So we are very much, or they are very much focused on giving the correct information. So I will implore our supporters to stay in contact with the various information platforms.
Yeah.
And if they have some information that is vetted officially from their companies, please pass it on so that we
disseminate.
Keep us informed, all of us. Yeah.
Yes, and please get your news from credible sources.
Yes.
There is a lot of misleading reporting out there.
Yes.
There's no need to cause alarm where it's not needed. That is really not necessary. Don't create misinformation for the sake of it. Doesn't help anybody.
Because then it goes about you, and not about the rest.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Okay.
Very selfish. Dangerous.
Yeah.
Wat is die? Dion Kloete. Moet ek nog 'n paar messages lees?
Ja. Lees 'n paar, laat ons.
Dion Kloete sê, ek like sy goeie skryfwerk. Ek lees altyd in Informanté. Die toppie is 'n groot gees.
Toppie is 'n groot gees.
Ja.
Kom ons hoop ek word nie regtig gegees.
Popienisi Congo, will Ministry of Finance back up the working class like in China? like no rent payment and giving companies money to pay their people. That is interesting.
But to add to that, I actually was listening to suggestions saying eventually we will get to a place where we have to, for example, make provisions for food. Because people that, for example, imagine people that have to self-quarantine. If you're working on commission or you're working on per hour, those people are going to, and you have to go into self-quarantine, you're going to be affected because now you can't pay for bills, now you can't pay for food, now you can't feed your family. So eventually we have to make provisions like make available free hand sanitizer or free masks or free gloves or whatever. Eventually that will have to happen and government will have to make that happen. For especially the communities that are not in a position to kind of equip themselves.
And also, it's interesting. I mean, the food consumption in this country, about 65% of it comes from outside the country. So when we're closing the borders, does that apply to goods as well,
I think
or
they're
just
not stopping
people?
cargo yet. Meaning, yes, the border's closed, but I think like the truck drivers of, say, food items, they will be allowed to go through. It's more your travel buses, your Intercape that's just bringing in people. So they're stopping the movement of people. Not right now. We can't afford to stop the movement of goods. Even in the USA, where they put this travel ban, they're still allowing cargo to come in. So you can't really ban that because it also affects too many businesses. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think measures will, as new information comes to light, as new cases comes, I think a lot of the new measures will be implemented. So I hope it doesn't get to a place where shelves are completely empty. I don't foresee that happening necessarily, but we can only hope right now.
Final question that I want to ask you guys. I think after the fish rot broke, more
guys,
than
by
a
the
month,
way.
2-3 months ago, there was a time just after the news broke that we couldn't talk about anything else for about 2 weeks on the show.
Yep.
Except that. Would it really help to bring any other topic in this week?
Nothing in that. If you read the newspapers today, if you look at all the newspapers and all the media, it doesn't have to be the physical paper. Just if you just look at the news feed, whether it's internationally, locally, it's all about the coronavirus, and it has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be because it's how you get information to the people that need it, and this is unfortunate. By the way, they're the most privileged right now because prison is probably one of the safest places.
Well, I can, from a news consumer point of view, is I agree absolutely with Maria and Neville. But I would love to see a deliberate effort from everybody to also bring some other news, even in a small way, to the front so that we go back to normal, that we don't overexhaust one topic. And you know how it is. Later you lose your fear because, there's nothing more to say. And then we go on like some of the people that you guys saw on Thursday, say, corona sa mama.
Maar speaking of which,
Laat hy kom, man.
we'll caught gathering.
Waarom lang gaan?
Wat gebeur nou? For example, the fish rots is supposed to appear in April.
Yes.
Usually the court is jam-packed. I mean, those are the words we use, jam-packed, meaning you're sitting right
Yeah,
there.
they will like it because it will be like in camera.
What happens in those situations? But yeah.
Guys, I OD'd so badly on coronavirus information this past weekend that I flipped through my TV channels last night. I got to Tom and Jerry. I'm not lying to you. I decided I'm going to watch Tom and Jerry now. I was watching Tom and Jerry like for an hour.
I love it.
Just to detox on corona.
That's
on Netflix,
disengaged.
yeah. But by the way, this of news consumption, it just reminded me. I saw somebody on social media complaining that ek is nou moeg vir hierdie Dr. Shangula Sagasag. It's everywhere. And I thought, let me make this clear. In a functioning society, in a society where people are really doing their job, in a time like this, the most recognizable face should be your health minister.
Of course.
Because it means they're
No
on the
doubt.
ball, they're giving information as it comes in. We know, for example, I like that our health officials are very accessible. Very accessible. I mean, we don't have a problem when we need to confirm or verify information
Well, Maria,
to get hold of
the beautiful thing you said now is we have to count our blessings.
Yes.
That we don't have a minister like this complaining.
Yes.
Because he would have never, or she would have never informed us. Afraid that we might get tired of her. So, yes. Yeah, I know life is unfortunately very fair. So that's why we don't have that person as a minister.
Ek wil nie weer praat nie, ek weet die mense is moeg van my.
Nee, jy moet maar praat. Ek kyk in die oggend, die manne sit al van 6 uur af. Waar is Maria?
Oh man, guys.
You are the most watched person. You can do nothing. Be careful.
Yeah. 9:15. It's also time for us to step out of the studio, I guess. But we are going to be here every day of this week, and we are, of course, going to keep you updated on the news as it comes in, as far as the school closures and perhaps also a hold on some economic activity and some non-essential services, maybe. And also if the case numbers do start, going up.
Which they will
Yeah.
do. Which they will.
We
It's-
are
it's-
definitely. But in the meantime, of course, you guys just follow the guidelines. Keep washing your hands. Stop touching your face
Why are you looking at me?
Sneeze, don't sneeze.
Yeah, why?
because you like touching your face, Neville. Yeah, just try. I know it's difficult, guys. You've got to itch on your nose or whatever, but just try and not touch your face. And if you're gonna cough or sneeze, don't cough into your hand because you're touching other things with your hand. So use like they've been saying, and of course, social distancing.
And if you suspect, let me add to that. If you suspect that you might have coronavirus, use the mask. The mask is. You need to remember, mask is not so much to protect you from
protect
other
others.
people. It's
Yeah.
more for you to not infect others.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you just suspect that you might have some of the symptoms and you're going to go out in public spaces, put on a mask. If you suspect that you might have, I don't know if it's even wise to go to a doctor and go sit in those waiting lines. Try and see if you can, it's rough. But yes, always think about that. I think more than yourself, think about the other people that you could potentially affect or infect.
This morning, my cab driver was wearing a mask and gloves. When we get in, it's like, hey, muni bang version says no in China, maybe.
Now, that's another thing I want to ask. What is the bank doing, this agency, if you walk in out there with the mask and you want money? How will you go from here?
Oh man. Yeah, everybody's is gonna lose money except for, the doctors who make house calls.
Ek sien my gym is soet daar met die comments.
Yeah.
Everybody say, "Oh, Neville, you are depressed."
Jason was altyd net so.
That's why I came in. I wanted to nurse him, but I felt pity for him.
I think Neville's just concerned because he's now 50 plus. This thing hits those people. This Chris and Neville.
Me a little bit less than you, because your problem is you want to make jokes, but you cannot. You are stuck in another space.
You'll die from depression. Coronavirus.
He starts making a joke of corona and says, no. Maybe it comes to me. It will come back to me.
And don't forget self-quarantine, yeah? If you feel like there might be a chance that you have the virus, just quarantine yourself. Isn't it? If the symptoms don't start showing within like 14 days, then you're probably fine. So, isn't it 2 weke?
Will one of you guys call my wife and say, I picked it up here, I will not be home for work.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. All right, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you once again. We will be back tomorrow morning. Stick around for Meneer Dirkas. Hy join julle 'n bietjie later in die dag. Dat en nou is also here on Informanté Radio. Have a lekker Monday.
Weekday morning from 6 to 9, Monday to Friday.
Good morning.